The Life of Chuck. This is the new Mike Flanagan movie that's based off a short story by Stephen King, who I'm not a fan of at all. And I watched this with a lot of borrowed trust, and because I don't like Stephen King, I don't like the stuff he writes and stuff. But from what I heard about this, it wasn't like his other stuff where it gets like into like supernatural and stuff like that. So I gave it a shot, and it was off borrowed trust from Tom Hiddleston, Matthew Lillard. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the guy who plays Baron Mordo in the MCU. But it was off borrowed trust, like a lot of borrowed trust. And while it does have some pretty big faults, I do have to say that I really did like this movie. And it did do its job where it's like life, like live it to its fullest and stuff like that. It did do that to a point. But I want to start out with a negative, because it's a really, really big negative that dragged this movie down a whole lot more than it would have been if it wasn't like this. But so it's kind of marketed with Tom Hiddleston being marketed as the lead and as the main character, and it's called The Life of Chuck. So you're like, okay, so it's gonna have like flashbacks to his childhood, maybe like scenes set there, and like it goes to him as an adult, and it's kind of like adult, his like adult story. No, he's in like 3 big scenes in the movie, and then like here and there in the other stuff. That made this movie so much more worse than it would have been, because I was expecting a good movie with Tom Hiddleston, because I like him as an actor. I want to see him in like main roles. And like, no, he wasn't even in it that much, which it was stupid to me, at least. Matthew Lillard was also in here. He was in it for a scene, basically just a conversation. It was a really good conversation, but it was like one conversation, which kind of sucks because I like his acting too. So the story takes place in these different things. The first 40-ish minutes is set with these characters, played by Baron Mordo, Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula. They're the 2 main ones, and then there's other people sprinkled throughout. There's the old like Captain America guy from Falcon Winter Soldier and Captain America Brave New World. Isaiah Bradley, I can't think of the actor's name, but he showed up, and it's just they're in the world, and Matthew Lillard was there, and it's like the end times, and then like there's billboards popping up everywhere that said "Thank you for 39 good years, Chuck," and they're kind of just like, "Who's this Chuck guy? I don't know, no Chuck." But it does that, and then their world like blips out after like build up, and then it shows Chuck in the hospital and stuff. And I do gotta say, I'm gonna say this because I'm kind of proud of myself for it, but before you found out what it was, like during the first 30-ish minutes, like Chuck popping up, this world crumbling and stuff, and then I think the big thing for me was when they went to the hospital and all the stuff was beeping 74. And then like kind of like the like movies taglines and stuff, I was kind of like, is this like his like a world inside his head? And that's kind of like the movie's goal and stuff. It was, and I'm so proud I got it. But then shows Chuck and dying, and then it goes back to 9 months before he dies, and there's this girl doing drums, and then he shows up and he just stops and starts dancing. And like dance, and then kind of goes along with that. He gets like one brief conversation, and then it goes back to him as a kid, learning that his parents and little sister died in a car crash. He lived with his grandma and grandpa, and then his grandma taught him how to dance. His grandpa was kind of an alcoholic, and then like that through his teen years. His grandma dies. I'm kind of running through the plot. His grandma dies. He dances with this girl. He doesn't end up with her. We get one more scene with Tom Hiddleston where he tells her how he got a scar that he lied to his wife about, but it wasn't really much different. And then his grandpa dies, and then and then at the end, like the very last scene, he finds out that like he sees him. It's a room that was locked the whole movie. He goes into it. He sees himself dying, and he decides, "Oh, I'm gonna live life to its fullest. I don't know when I'm gonna die. I don't know where. I don't know how. He does know how, but that." And the story was portrayed good, but it could have been so much better if Tom Hiddleston was the main focus, because his scenes were the best in the movie, but he barely got any scenes. It was mostly focused on Kid Chuck, and the actor was fine, but it wasn't interesting. Mark Hamill was a big part of it. I'm not a big fan of his either, so his acting was meh. I mean, he had some good moments, but for the most part, he's not a great actor. Like, even as Luke Skywalker, he can't act. Like, he can't. But, the dancing scene is probably one of my favorite scenes. I don't know why, I just like that. But, let's talk about some positives. The humor in this movie was really good. My theater was laughing a lot. I was laughing a lot. It was pretty funny. And I mean, all in all, it's a pretty good movie. It's not near the top of my list of the year, but it's a pretty good, well-made movie. And at the end, my theater was like standing up, clapping and stuff. So, I mean, it's good. Even if I don't necessarily think it's great, other people do, and I mean, that's good. Is it a movie I'll watch again? Yes, but I don't feel like I'll watch it for a while. And it will probably be one that I'll just like find on streaming one day and put it on. But it's not one that I'm gonna rush to go see again, because like the main actor, or the person they marketed as the main actor, is barely in the movie. And like that might be why I don't like it as much, is because I went into it expecting a lot of good Tom Hiddleston moments and like having fun with it, where he only has like a couple scenes. And like, I know I keep harping on it, but it's like the more I think about it, the more it's like, what were they thinking with that? I almost feel like he was kind of done dirty, because he's a really good, really phenomenal actor, and he deserves more leading parts, because he's known as Loki, who obviously is side character, and then he's side characters on other ones. In Kong Skull Island, he's marketed as the main character, but even then, even then, that movie's more of like a all these different people. But I want to see if there's anyone I'm missing. But it's like, there were really good moments. There were some bad moments, but nothing that was like totally abysmal. Like, none that were like, this movie isn't horrible at all, and it is probably worth the watch. Like, I would say I'm happy that I watched it, but it's not one that I'm gonna be rushing out to see. So Carl Lumbly is the name. This guy from Captain America. Mia Sara is in it as the grandma, and she's obviously Sloane Ferris Bueller's girlfriend from Ferris Bueller. David Dastmalchian. Oh, I screwed that name up, didn't I? The guy that I know from Ant-Man. He was in it in like a little part. It was a pretty funny part, but at the same time, it's the part that was kind of... Molly C. Quinn. I don't know if a lot of people know her, but I saw her in the cast before I watched the movie, and I was like, hey, that's Alexis from Castle, which is a good show with Nathan Fillion. She was in it for all of, I would say, 2-3 seconds, tops. 1 sentence of dialogue. That's about all I have to say in this. I mean, it's a fun movie that has good moments. Like, it has some really good moments. But I feel that those moments are a lot better than the movie as a whole. Like, I would say the Matthew Lillard scene, the dance scene, and like other like little moments here and there are much better as like scenes as they are as part of this whole bigger movie, if that makes sense. I wish that it had more Chuck. And they probably won't do it because this does feel like a movie that they're going to leave as a standalone. But what they could do is make another, like, if this movie does good, make a sequel and have it focus on Tom Hiddleston as Chuck. That would probably be a little bit of a better movie because it's like, you know where it's heading. Almost like he does in the movie. He knows where his life is heading. He knows that he's going to die in this bed. So he's going to live life to its fullest and stuff like that. So almost like the second movie, they could be like, you already know what's going to happen with him at the end. You already know some of the stuff that's happened to him. So let's show you stuff that we didn't show and just have the movie be its best. I don't know. It's near the middle of my ranking. I would say, from what I can remember, it's like on the higher side of the ranking. So it's a good movie, and I have it high. I would say this is one of the most disappointing films of the year. And this one of the most disappointing doesn't mean it is bad. It just means I expected a good chunk more. And that is on me. That is totally on me. I understand that. I know that when I put a movie to these standards, that I'm probably going to be disappointed. Unless it's like Mission Impossible or Superman or stuff like that. No, Mission Impossible didn't. Superman won't. I am almost 100%. But it's me putting this movie to the standard that I am. That is definitely on me. But that's my review of The Life of Chuck. I gave it 3 stars. I would say that at some point in my life, I could give it 2.5. I probably will keep it at 3, but I can see it going to 2.5. But I would say it's probably definitely worth the watch, at least once. Just don't go in expecting a lot of any of them, really. Actually, don't go in expecting a whole lot from any of the cast members, and you'll probably be more happy than I was. I'm not saying I wasn't happy. It's just disappointing. But yeah, Life of Chuck. I would How to Train Your Dragon, the live action, and How to Train Your Dragon ranking are coming this weekend, and then Sunday or probably Monday, if I'm being honest. The review for Materialist, starring Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, that will be out. And then F1, I know, is this month. Ironheart is in a couple weeks. I'm not fully excited for that, but we'll see if it's good. And then July and August are coming up, and those are probably going to be like my favorite months of the year. If you watch this, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the movie a lot more than I did. Like, I seriously hope you enjoyed it a lot more. There are very, very few movies that I wish people don't enjoy. But this is not one of them. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And hopefully someday I will enjoy it more. But, I mean, it's still pretty good. But thanks for watching. Tell me what you thought in the comments. Tell me if you agree and it could have used more Tom Hiddleston. And I will see you guys Saturday or Sunday. Probably Saturday, because I'm going to have a lot to talk about.